Okay, I am doing research for my Writing 303 class, where I am going to be researching the implications of buying fast fashion clothing versus clothing from high-end designers, like how it's morally affecting the world, ethically, and also the cultural and social and economic things that go along with it. So I'm just going to start. I don't know a lot about this topic, even though it's something I'm really interested in, and I'm really interested in fashion. So I only know the bare bones of it. So I'm going to start by just doing some research about fast fashion brands. So I'm going to make a list for this. Okay, so I'm going to start by researching fast fashion brands that are unethical. And I'm going to click on the first one, Attitude Organic. So this is giving me a list of fast fashion brands to avoid that maybe have bad working conditions or employ children. And a lot of these are really, really popular stores. But it's not really telling me like what the conditions are exactly, and that's what I want to learn more about. So I'm gonna include that. And I'll say, what are the conditions in shops? Okay, so I'm going to click on this first link. So child labor is definitely a big one, and I know that that is easier to kind of get around laws around about that internationally. So I'm going to say actually maybe we'll make this underline. Oops. Okay, so we have child labor, $170 million children. And I'm just going to include a link to this article so that I don't get my information mixed up. Add link to a page. I'm just going to do, there we go. Cool. Don't want this to be bold though. Okay, oh well. Then it says average pay equates to roughly 50 cents a day. Then it talks about fake fur, which is something I know a lot about. But there have been a lot of, I guess, controversies about fake fur containing real fur because it can be expensive and difficult for clothing companies to create fake fur that looks real but isn't real. And in some cases, it's actually cheaper for them to include fur that's real, but just call it fake fur. So that's clearly unethical, especially because consumers may be buying that clothing because they think that it's cruelty free, and that's very misleading. So I'm definitely going to include this point. So we have that, but I feel like this doesn't go under what the conditions are like, so I'm going to make a new section. Misleading / false information to the public. There we go. So fake fur isn't fake. Sometimes it's cheaper to use real fur rather than spend money on resources to create believable faux fur. I really liked this city.io article already. I don't know exactly how credible it is yet, so I'm gonna look into that after I finish writing down all the things that I would like to include in my research. But so far, it's already included 2 points that I wanted to touch on. Oops. I don't know why this is being weird. And then, let's see. The New York Times reported on a scandal in 2013 in which Neiman Marcus stores in the United States were selling multiple items labeled faux fur that were actually real. I'm going to see if I can find that article. New York Times, faux fur, Neiman Marcus. I think I found it. Let's see. So this is interesting because in this article, the items that contain faux fur are actually designer items, not super luxury designer, but still designer. So I think that that's interesting, and I'm going to include that as well. I haven't even read this article, which I'm going to do right after, but I can already tell that this is important. So I'm going to write under a designer / couture section. How do you spell couture? Stuart Weitzman. Yeah, this is driving me nuts. Okay, there we go. So I don't know how helpful this article is going to be to me overall, but I really appreciate that I learned this about designer clothing because I don't want to do research on a topic that turns out to tell me something different than what I'm expecting, because I'm expecting to find that designer clothing is overall a better investment than fast fashion clothing. I also think I'll find that it is better for the environment, planet, and people. But clearly, I might be wrong. So I will revise this as needed. However, I will also add and say that my final prediction is that designer clothing has a better social connotation, which isn't a hard prediction to come to, considering it is displayed prominently by celebrities in the media. Okay, I'm going to go back to my initial research, I don't know what the word is, endeavor, because I think I got a little sidetracked. So this is interesting. Again, a study by the New York Times saying that overseas clothing coming in to the US can contain lead dyes. I don't know why I put that in quotation marks. Can contain lead dyes that can cause lead contamination. Which can lead to nerve damage and kidney failure. Wow. Oh, oops, I did not mean to do that. But then there's also a New York Times article about this. So, yeah, this is more what I'm talking about. In 2010, a lawsuit was filed. I'm going to try and find the study by the New York Times about lead. So, again, New York Times, lead, fashion. Okay. Okay, this is giving me good information. Wet seal. Why do I keep doing that? Okay. So now I'm going to group these into separate categories. So under fast fashion brands, I'm going to do a working conditions. And then I'm going to do health/safety. And then I will do a misleading to the public. We will put okay. Okay. So dangerous working conditions are something that I think most of the public knows are commonplace in sweatshops that are international and maybe don't have the same laws that we do. And I definitely think that that's important to consider when, you buy your clothes, because what's a $20 shirt for you could be, you know, causing emphysema or something, or cancer or something for somebody else because they're inhaling fumes. And you kind of have to think, is it really worth this shirt that I'll probably forget about in 6 months to be contributing to an environment that hurts people like that? So I think that that's worthy to consider. So I'm going to include this in the health and safety part of my research page. Okay, my timer just went off, so I'm going to stop this recording in a second, but I do think that I've made progress. I like the City.io link, which I'm going to include here, even though I already have it linked a few times. But even though it was one of the only pages that I looked at during my research, it kind of gave me a few ideas as to like where else to look. So even if I don't find it to be a credible or like legitimate enough research, I do know that some of the things that it talks about, like the lead poisoning and the dangerous conditions, those are real problems, and I will be able to find more information about them from credible resources. And the next time we do a research recording, if we do another one, or the next time I'm doing research, I plan to look into more of the other side of things and the designer side of things, and look at, these items are handmade and how long they're meant to last for. And if you're spending money on them, how much that equates to if you're buying 10 of the same item a year because they're falling apart. So that's definitely what I plan to look into next. So yeah, that's all.